Test, 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 test. Can everybody hear me? Hello? Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me. Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah? Well, you know what? I'm going to assume that you can. Anyway, welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. You may notice that I'm in a completely different office, and that's because I'm at somebody else's house. Now, I'm sure you'll make fun of me and say I live with my parents, even though I'm just visiting them. But yes, I'm just visiting, okay? So, let's go ahead and talk about Netflix. So this guy named Bill Ackman, right? He's a hedge fund. He runs a hedge fund or whatever, hedge fund. And apparently this guy bought Netflix a while back, and he just lost a freaking fortune. What a total clown. Now, it was obvious to me that Netflix was massively overvalued. It's one of those freaking large cap stocks that shot up recently because of the pandemic and is way too expensive. And even now, after it's sold off, I don't think it's a good buy. Now, I always hear these stories about, oh, well, this billionaire did this and this billionaire did that. Let me tell you what, you don't need to listen to freaking billionaires to know what you're doing. Number one, you can just max your tax advantage accounts and buy total world index funds. And number two, half the billionaires are freaking clowns that don't know what they're doing. Okay, but they're rich. So we're going to do some fundamental analysis of Netflix. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at some revenue assumptions, previous revenue, previous profit margins, and we're going to get a rough approximation of what price I would actually buy Netflix at. So bear with me because this is a freaking Apple computer, which I suck at these things. So hopefully you can see my screen. So first, we're going to do some analysis of old Netflix. So here I have macrotrends.net, and we have Netflix revenue from 2010 to 2021. And we have these little graphs down here. Now, what I want to focus on is year-over-year quarterly revenue growth. So you can see, basically, it shows how the revenue has grown year over year. So you can kind of get a feel for what Netflix's revenue growth is going to be. Now, the younger the company, the faster it grows. However, you can see as we move along, revenue growth is starting to slow. So the most recent year-over-year growth in revenue was 16%. Now, if you're looking into the future, you need to have a lower assumption for revenue growth because the bigger you are, the slower you grow. Okay, does that make sense? What? Tesla. Okay, so we got that. We have we'll go with net income. So the net income is their bottom line profit. Well, this shows the freaking growth. I want to see the profit. Let's see. They should have ratios here. Net income margins. Let's see what their margins are. So their net margin historically, if you look at the bottom here, the bottom one, they have roughly 5-6% profit margins until 2020, of course, when everybody got stimmy checks and the freaking profit margins ratcheted up massively. Now, when I'm doing my assumptions for net margin, I'm not going to use 17% or 14%. I'm going to go with a good average. But, just to be generous, we'll say they have a 10% profit margin, okay, going forward into the future. So we'll use 10% profit margin. For revenue growth, we'll say, I'll be nice and I'll say 13% over the next 5 years. And you can see it's trending downwards. So 13% revenue growth, 10% profit margin. Let's see. So here's my nifty Excel sheet, okay? Let's actually see, what was their trailing 12-month revenue? Let's go back. All right, trailing 12-month revenue was $29.697 billion. So if we go to my nifty-difty little thing here, which will freaking pop up. There we go. We'll just call it 29. 29 million. I don't know what the heck I was doing here. See, I freaking hate these Apple computers. They're just so confusing to me. Okay, we'll call it 29 billion. Now, the next thing you want to look at is shares outstanding, because as an owner of a share, you get a certain amount of the profits of the company. So the more shares there are, the less of the total profits of the company you get. Now, I believe Netflix's shares outstanding. Let's go check. Netflix shares outstanding. 0.455 billion. So we go back. Oh, that's pretty much it. I think this was used for Netflix. Oh, yeah, I did use this for Netflix. Okay, so we have trailing 12-month revenue of $29 billion. We got, what, 444 million shares outstanding. Now, your discount rate is your profit. So we'll just be nice, and we'll say we want a 10% rate of return. I want higher. Revenue growth. Remember we said 13%? Profit margin, we said 10%. So recently they've had higher profit margins, but I'm not going to freaking play around with that, okay? Because those can always revert. And if you look at the historical profitability, it was a lot lower. PE at disposition. We're going to ignore this free cash flow margin assumption. PE at disposition. This is what you think the company's price to earnings ratio will be at disposition. Now, Netflix has had a healthy price to earnings ratio. But if you think about it, it's a lot lower now. And 5 years into the future, it's probably going to be a lot lower. So I'll be nice and I'll say 20%. And I'll say they're diluting the shareholders by 0.5%. Now, after all this complex math, and I wouldn't use this for buying decisions because I was at work and I was bored. I made this in like 20 minutes. I would not use this for buying decisions, but I mean, I'm going to use it for buying decisions, but I would not use it if I was you. If you look, the buy price for a 10% return for Netflix is $180. What is Netflix trading at right now? Let's see, Netflix stock. 215. So let's see what rate of return you would get if you bought it at the price it is now. 9%. I hate these max. 5%. Okay. Let's say 6%. You would make 6% rate of return, assuming you bought Netflix right now, which to me is freaking trash. If I'm going to buy an individual stock, I want better than a 6% rate of return, assuming these assumptions are correct. Now, for me, when would I buy this stock? I would buy it around $147 because I want a 15% rate of return with these reasonable assumptions. So you tell me, is Netflix a good deal, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think so. Now, Bill Ackman, he bought this way, way higher. I don't understand what these people think. Even these hedge fund people, they think, oh, the stock went down, so I can just buy it and it'll go back up. It doesn't make freaking sense to me, okay? He bought it. God, let's see, when did Bill Ackman buy it? Bill Ackman price paid for Netflix. I'm just freaking clown. He sold out. Ackman's made an abrupt turn. Okay, no, they sold it. He must have bought in the 300s or 400s or something like that, but he made a massive freaking loss. And it's like, dude, I put this together in like 20 minutes, and it's common sense to me that if you use reasonable assumptions, you're not going to make a lot of money on this stock, okay? It may go up in the short term, but I don't care about that, okay? I care about long term. What is my long-term rate of return? If it dropped to $150, okay, I would probably buy it. But until then, I ain't freaking touching it. Now, do we have any questions? Let's go look at some of the comments. I know all you clowns are talking trash. You don't understand stocks, just buy Tesla. Strongman is a fraud. Meet Kevin Botman. Yes, I'm totally bought off, bro. Oh, here we got 1 in 10 cars in Norway are Teslas. Everybody has them here. 60 to 100K for a car that everyone else has. I do not get it. I don't get it, ladies and gentlemen, especially the Model Y being popular and somehow Tesla's going to take over the world and the car's 66 grand. Stupid. Let's see. VT down 5% as of last year. Tesla up 37%. So if you were going to buy it, if you were going to buy something and get a better rate of return, would you want to buy something that went down or something that went up? You freaking Tesla clowns. The fact that you brag about short-term price fluctuations shows me how freaking stupid you are. It went up! Tesla up 150% over the last 5 years. VT up 40%. I wonder which one could possibly be in a bubble. God, you people are clowns. Let's see. Big Daddy VT. That's right. See, you guys laugh, but when I'm 50 or 60, I'll have a lot of money. You'll be broke. You lose your butt with Tesla. Go to margins. I found it eventually. Okay, let's see. Any interesting comments? Oh, so Bill Ackman bought it at 350? Yeah. What? Why would you buy it at 350? That doesn't make sense to me. I made that stupid tracker. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but it's like not hard to make. I made it in 20 minutes, and buying that stock at 350, that's insane. Okay, you must have like insane revenue and profitability assumptions. Now, if you assume the revenue was going to grow at 35% or something, and you thought the profit margin was going to be 20, 30% going into the future, okay, maybe I could see it. But I'd rather be conservative and, reduce my downside risk than assuming the company's going to have these killer margins and revenue growth and then being screwed, kind of like Bill Ackman did. So, okay. What's your buy point for Tesla? Honestly, I don't have one. I don't care. Today's the day people learn why we keep saying to buy index funds. What's going on with the market? Is it just getting wrecked today? I haven't even checked. How's old Corsair doing, everybody? Freaking hilarious. 50% of my portfolio in Bob. I will outperform you, Jeremy, Kevin, and Tesla. I mean, you might, but I'm not going to risk 50% of my wealth in freaking one stock, even though I do. I agree with you. I think Bob is going to do great, but I'm not putting 50% of my money into it. I have been burned so many times on individual stocks. I spend about 80% of my investment money on ETFs like SPY and QQQ. But I do play around. See, that's what you should do. You should play around with a small part of your portfolio. And you got to be careful because you really have to bake in super conservative assumptions and wait till those stocks actually hit those buy points before you buy. Because if you look at recent performance like Tesla, the revenue went up 80%, and you use that as your projections going forward, you're freaking high. Okay, you're gonna get screwed. Guarantee it. Look at all these other stocks that got freaking wrecked. Thanks for helping break the cycle bleeding at Jeremy. I'm selling out of most of my stocks and investing in VT. There you go. I would say screw QQQ, but whatever. At least you got some VT. Okay. Market is getting killed because Jerome basically said 50 basis point is coming in May. This is actually good. If you're young and you're dollar cost averaging into the market and it's getting wrecked, you're going to make more money. You want the market to crash. I want decimation. Okay. Decimation. But none of you understand that. You just buy Tesla because it went up. Whatever. All right. That's it. I would buy Netflix at $150. But of course, I wouldn't use this thing as financial advice. I'm trying to see what Bill Ackman. Actually, let me share my screen again. Let me share my screen. Okay. So let's see what Bill Ackman's assumptions were. Let's say he wanted a 15% return of revenue growth. Let's say 30%. Profit margin 20. 15. Let's say 25%. Okay, so this is exactly his buy point. So he probably was assuming 25% revenue growth. I mean, you can do any kind of combination here. 25% revenue growth. God, these freaking apples. And 15% profit margin to get a buy point of $352. Jesus Christ. Whatever. Tomorrow, bro. Here's my Tesla. Tattooed Chef at 925 when Tesla crashed. Jeremy equals truck stop. I 100% agree. All right, that's it. Hopefully this video wasn't too low. Hopefully you can hear me. Y'all have a wonderful day. Maybe I'll make more. Cheers.